In this video, we will see how we can use the ArcGIS API for Python to move layers from our base maps into our operational layers in the web map. So open up the move from basemap.py script from the basemaps folder. The map object has a basemap property that is a BasemapManager, and from the BasemapManager we have the move from basemap method that allows us to move layers from the basemap to the main operational layers. Let's head over to documentation for the move from basemap method. Here we have the documentation for the move from basemap method. It takes one required parameter, and that is an index. It is the index of the layer found in the basemap layers that will be moved to be in the operational layers. Please ignore this example. It is not how you do it. We're going to see how we do it properly in our example, where we move a layer from the basemap layers to the operational layers. In the next video, we're going to look at the reverse process of move to basemap. Let's head back to our Python script. We first access ArcGIS Online using the GIS class and supplying our home string. We'll assign our GIS object to a variable called agol. We're going to access our GIS object, content manager, get method, supplying in the WebMap item ID, which I'll paste in now. The get method will return an item object that will assign to a variable called WebMap item. We'll then use our map class and supply in our WebMap item to create a map object that will assign to a variable called WebMap. Our base map has two layers. It has a reference layer that displays places of interest and place names, and then we have the actual base map tiles. So we're going to run this script twice. Let's run it the first time and check out the result. We need to access our map object and the basemap property, which is a BasemapManager, and then the move from basemap method. And we'll put in index of 0 to move the first layer in our basemap. Because we are manipulating through the map object, we need to call the map object update method to commit the change. We'll assign the calling of the update method to a variable called status, and we'll print status to screen. So let's run this script. The script is complete. We'll head on over to ArcGIS Online. Here we have the current web map. We can see we have no layers. If I click into the base map, we renamed our base map in the previous video to my base map title. I click in, we have our light gray reference, which is the text, and then we have our light gray base, which is the tiles. Now I'm going to refresh this page. You can see in our layers, we now have our light gray base, and that our base map is only made up of the light gray reference. I'm going to head back over to our Python script. I'm going to rerun the script. And we can see that we are getting an error that you only have one base map layer present. You cannot remove the layer since you must always have at least one layer. So when there are two layers in our base map, we can only move one of them to the operational layers, and one must exist as a base map layer in the web map. Now I am going to show you how we can cheat this. I'm going to back into my move from base map. I do have an example too. I'm going to paste in, and I will comment out our first example, and we'll use our second example. Here we're going to use the WebMap JSON definition. We call the get data method from our WebMap item, not our map object, our WebMap item object. I'm going to assign the returned dictionary from the get data to a variable called WebMap item data. First, let me print that WebMap item data dictionary to screen. I'll run the script. Oops, I forgot to import a JSON module up the top, so I'll do that. Import JSON. And now I will rerun. Our script is ran. If we take a look at our basemap property, we have our basemap layers, and there is one layer left in there, and that is our gray reference layer. As we moved the gray base layer, which is our vector tile layer, to the operational layers. Now we can manipulate this definition to move our gray reference layer also into the operational layers. I'll comment out where I print the definition to screen. I'll open up the rest of the example. First of all, we get the base map layer of interest. So we use our map object, BasemapManager, into the layers property and grab the only layer left. which is our reference layer. I'm going to assign that to a variable called basemap layer. We then access the WebMap item data dictionary operational layers, where we're updating the operational layers property, which is a list of dictionaries, to include the basemap layer for the reference layer. We'll then delete the basemap layer from the basemap layers, that basemap reference layer from the basemap property. And then we want to update the item object, which is our WebMap item. We create a dictionary called WebMap item properties, where the key is text and the value is the updated WebMap item data dictionary. We then use the update method for the item object, supplying in the WebMap items property dictionary as the item properties parameter. Now I will run this script. Our script is complete. Let's head over to ArcGIS Online and check out the result. You can see we still have our light grey reference in our basemap. I'm going to refresh this page. And now both our light grey reference and our light grey base form part of our operational layers, and we have no basemap layers in our basemap. So the move from basemap method wouldn't allow us to move the basemap to the operational layers if there was a single basemap layer left in there. But we saw how we can manipulate the JSON definition for our web map and move both the basemap layers into our operational layers using the ArcGIS API for Python.